Welcome back to an exciting video. What we're talking about today is how much do I still like my MODX8 after over a year? So yes, it's been a while since I've had this now. And this was my first synth, and when I got it, I gotta be honest, man, I really had no idea what I was doing with it, because I've always had digital pianos, and I have my amazing CP300 that is downstairs. I actually need to do a video on that, because Yamaha doesn't make that anymore that I'm aware of, and I think that is just a huge mistake on their part, discontinuing that piano, because it is just absolutely fabulous. And so, that's right, I said fabulous. So I actually need to do a video on that because I absolutely love that piano. So if I'm just playing piano stuff, I'm on my CP300 every time, hands down. It's just a better feeling instrument than this for what its intended use is. But we're talking about two completely different instruments here. It's like comparing a ukulele to an Eddie Van Halen Wolfgang guitar. Two completely different instruments. So what we have here, of course, is our MODX8, and I did a video a while back called The Pros and Cons, knowing at one point I would do another follow-up video, which I'm doing right now. And like I said, I've had this for a while. And when I first got it, no idea what I was doing, completely new to the synth world. And I gotta admit, I'm not even using 50% of the capabilities of this thing, because the editing is so freaking deep, it's not funny. And, you know, this is one of those, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not one of those just synth geeks, you'll have to read the manual 10 times just to get into it. But don't let that scare you away from it, because what this does have is a bevy of fantastic sounds already on board. And as of to date, I've only had to really tweak a few sounds. I've pretty much been able to find a sound in here for whatever I'm doing that is either pretty damn close or close enough to what I need without having to go in and tweak a lot of stuff, but I have had to do some tweaks. Now, when I was first looking at getting synthesizers, I was looking all over the place. I was looking everywhere. And I only went with a Yamaha because I've had a lot of Yamaha products in the past, and Yamaha does make a very good product. My CP300, that's my third digital Yamaha stage piano from them. But in the world we have today, there are so many great keyboards out there. It's actually very hard to figure out what to buy. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to check your price point, and that's kind of where I started, because when I started this, I was actually going after a Montage, which was, I think, $2,000 more than this. So basically, I could have bought just about two of these for the price of one Montage. Now, with the Montage, now that I've had this for a while and I've had a chance to play a multitude of other keyboards, the key bed on the Montage does feel a little better. It's not significantly better. I don't care what anybody says, it is a little better. Is it $2,000 better? Absolutely not. Not even close. I still do not think that the Montage key bed feels as good as the key bed on my CP300. Now, that could be because I'm so accustomed to my CP300. But as of to date, out of every digital keyboard I have played, I have yet to find a digital keyboard that has a better key bed, a better feeling key bed than my CP300. It feels just like when I had my 5.4 Grand. It feels exactly the damn same to me. And I like that. But my 5.4 Grand was also a Yamaha, so it could be that. But to me, there's close. But the CP300 still has a better key bed, in my opinion. But with the Montage, it's basically the same engine with more power. As you know, if you're in the guitar world, it's kind of like buying a Fractal FM3 as compared to a Fractal FM9. It's the same engine. The FM9 has more power, and that's kind of what the Montage has, is more power. But is it really power that you need? Now, if my only instrument, because this is actually my secondary instrument, guitar being my first, if my only instrument was keyboards, and I was a keyboard hired gun, I probably would have bought, an upper end Korg or a Montage or something, if that was my only shtick. But if you're newbie into this, a mediocre player, not professional, but not bad, and you just want something that does the job at a good price point, I got to tell you, even after all this time, I do not believe you can beat the MODX. I did buy the 8. I do like having all my keys. And also, when you get to the 7 and the 6, those are more synth-feeling keys. They literally have no weight. At least these do have some weight to them, and I like that. I don't like just the keys with no weight. The plasticky-feeling keys, I do not like those. But if you're a full-on synth player, that may be what you prefer. But here's the caveat to this as opposed to everything else. This is the MODX8. And now, I did have a chance the other day to play the MODX8 Plus. And I would not get rid of my 8 to upgrade to that. There's not enough of an upgrade to that. But what was really cool about it is sitting right below that MODX Plus was a used MODX8 in perfect freaking shape for $1,400. You simply can't beat that. This is a steal at $1,400. And now that the Plus has come out, the price on these is going down. And because you know how people are, they want the newest, the latest, the greatest, and I get that. But I'm going to tell you now, if I was looking at a brand new MODX8 Plus, and I was looking at this in great shape for $1,400, I would still buy this. I would save the $600, $700, $800 and buy this, and for that, hell, I could buy all kinds of peripherals and shit for that extra money. Or look for a MODX6 to stack on top of it for about $600, $700. And then have 2 keyboards to do, instead of what one would do. So I would still get this. But after all this time, how do I like it now that I've actually got to play with it and figure it out and understand it a little more? Well, I got to admit, I do wish it had a few more buttons and knobs on it to kind of get through some things a little faster. But with that being said, I don't think there's enough on here to make me regret my purchase. Even though I do use the sliders and the knobs here, I do use them from time to time for tone shaping. And, you got your cutoff, your resonance. The pan I never use. The attack and the decay and the release and the reverb, I use those constantly on here. Constantly. And they're just literally right here. So it's not a big deal. I think I would still buy this, even with what I know after playing all the other keyboards. I think at the price point, this is still extremely freaking hard to beat. And the sounds on this thing are absolutely world class. So what I've done, these are some of my sounds here. Let me go to my live set and just kind of give you a quick idea of what's going on and what is going on here. So, sorry about the squeaky chair. So these are the sounds that I primarily use. Now, some of these sounds I've had to go in and tweak to get them a little closer to what I needed. But for the most part, I can pull these sounds right out of the MODX. There is just so damn many sounds in here that at worst case scenario, you may have to tweak a little bit. And once you understand how to layer the sounds, it's actually pretty simple to do, and that really opens up the palette that much more of what you can do. So let's run through some of these sounds that I have here. This is a CFX Padded 2. This is just a piano that has a string on it. And what I will do is I use this a lot of time when we're doing Journey, because there's only 4 of us in the band. So when I'm playing keyboards, obviously I'm not playing guitar, so I will use this to kind of fill up the sound some with the by putting the strings on it. So I'll use the sounds for songs like that. And this one works very good. It's the CFX Padded 2. And I just pulled it straight out. Now I do have a 74 light phase here. Now this is one that I actually went in and made, and I think there may be one in here actually called Light Phase, I believe, so I think I got 2 of them. I went in there and I tweaked the phaser settings on this one myself to get the more of the sound that I needed. But I could easily just use the one that was in there. That was just me, well, can I figure it out? and that's why I went in there and I adjusted that. Now, I took that same sound and I added a little bit of a bell on it, and I did it for this song. And if you listen, you can hear just a very, very light bell. It's very light, a little ding, ding in it. Because to me, that song, when I listen to that, you know, it sounds like to me there's a light bell under it. So I went in and I added a light bell to it when I went into the setup, like I said, to layer the sounds. Now, this is my CFX stage chorus here. Now, I use this sound for all kinds of things, and believe it or not, I actually use it also for a lot of Journey, because this sounds more like the sound, but I usually use the pad so I can get that pad under it to give it a little more, a little full. But I do use this a lot for Home Sweet Home. And it sounds great for that. And actually, this is a sound, a CFX stage chorus. I just took this sound straight out of it. I do have a couple of sounds in here. This is, again, Journey, Send Her My Love. And I did have to go in and tweak this sound a little bit to get it to sound like that. It's a fantastic sound, and this is one that I've called, and it's called Send Her, so I know what it is. I'm looking at my live set here. Of course, I do have my choir here that we use for Still of the Night in the interlude, where it does this. So I used that choir set in there. Now this is a sound that I took out of there, and I just brought the whole sound because it is freaking massive. This is one of my favorite sounds in here. So this one is actually set up on the scenes, on the scene controller, and it's really cool. And the thing I like about this is it's kind of comparable, once you understand how to do it, to my guitar rig, my Fractal. Because you set everything up there on your scene controller, and that's what we're doing here. So here we have, then when we kick over to here, we have a good string sound. When we go to scene 3, we kind of get a combination of stuff. But when we get to scene 4, dude, this is just freaking massive. I mean, absolutely massive. And that one I took straight out of the MODX. I'm just going to do a couple more of my sounds here, and then I'll continue on. Here I have this. It's just a very full, thick pad, and that's great for putting under music when you're playing to kind of help fill up the sound a little bit. Because sometimes we know we're playing songs, there's just times when I got to choose either piano or guitar. Which one is going to add more to the song? So a lot of times I will go over to my keys because I can really fill up a lot of huge holes with all these sounds. So this is the Rebel Yell sound that I found. And actually, I can't remember the patch. If anybody needs to know it, though, I will dig it up. But this is actually a sound I took out. I just renamed it, so I don't know what the original name of it was. But, dude, this is spot on. When you get into the bridge, the part where he goes, I walk the wall for you, baby. This is it. I walk the wall for you, baby. I mean, that is freaking spot on to that sound. So then I've got a couple of other ones. These are just sounds I play at the beginning of the show. You know, big opening, everything real fat and heavy. So mess with that every once in a while. These are some of my favorite songs here. This is just a very another thick pad here. Great sound. And these are two of my favorite ones here. I use these two probably more than anything. Now these are light pads, and these are very similar to each other. There's just a few differences in the settings on how they sound, but they're very similar. So listen to this, and I'll point out the differences. Now this is a variation of that same sound. Which is an absolutely brilliant sound. Now these two, this first one is called Dark Light, and you can hear it's got a little, it'll come in a little bit. You can hear that. And the only difference is it's the same sound, but on the analog, that is removed. And for sounds filling up under music, this is probably the sound I use most, because you can just fill up so many holes with this thing. It's just a great sound, and this analog sound is just absolutely brilliant. But here we are, you know, well over a year later. I've kind of figured out how to use a lot of it. One of my favorite things about it is the super knob. Absolutely brilliant. Once you understand how to hook the controllers up to this, it's actually very nice, because if I'm playing, now granted I got everything on the scenes here. I've got everything on the scenes, but what I can do is I can simply, and then I can adjust how much of the other effect I want micromentally. And I love that. The super knob is fantastic, and hell, that's worth the price of admission all by itself. And I've got all these settings. This is my live set. If anybody wants to know exactly how to do some of this stuff, let me know in the comments, and I'll do another video. I'll get a camera hooked up and do some of this. But this is the stuff in my live set. So when I go to play, I bring up my live set, and all these sounds are already in there. I don't have to go through the category search and start looking for shit. It's just all right here, ready to go. But I gotta admit, I absolutely love it, even after all this. I have zero regrets buying this. It has performed flawlessly. It's light. That is fantastic. I mean, this thing is stupid light. Go grab my CP300 and try that. It'll break your freaking back. And that's one of the things I do love about it, is how light it is. Very easy to move to shows. It's actually, you know, my CP300 is a struggle to get that to shows. This is a piece of cake, so I do love that. I wish I had a couple of more buttons on it, but that's not enough to sway my decision whatsoever. I have no regrets buying this at all. I do wish it did have XLR outs. I don't know why so many places are going away from that, because, you know, when you go to my board, most of my inputs are XLRs. And so I just don't understand why they got away from the XLR outs. My CP300 does have XLR outs. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints. I did complain about the internal power supply, and I had a couple of people set me straight on why this is a better option. And after I read their responses, I kind of got to thinking about it. I got to admit, I do wish it had an internal power supply, because I got so many cables that already hook up to that. But they made a lot of points. You can go back on the pros and cons of MODX, and I'm sure you can find it in there and read it, the points that they made. And I got to agree with them. They made some good points. So that's not a deterrent for me either if it's a internal or external power supply. That is no longer a deterrent for me. I have zero regrets. There's a million sounds. You can find just about anything you want inside of it. And I do like having all this stuff right here on top. So I can go through here and I can adjust on my tone. I can adjust the cutoff, the resonance. I do like that. The portamento doesn't really affect that too much, but I love the fact that I can adjust the attack on the fly. And it'll keep building, because that way I don't have to do this live. I can just adjust the attack for however fast I want that to ramp up. And it'll slowly keep ramping up. I can hit my EQ. I can adjust the EQ on the fly depending on the room that I'm in. Then, of course, you have your RPS, your arpeggiator, and all that stuff down here. The swing, the gate time, the amplitude, and the shape. You have all that at the touch of your fingers. Now, there are more knobs on the Montage, like I said. This actually doesn't bother me. I wish we had the other knob buttons over here that the Montage has. On this side, I'm cool. I'm good. I really don't need anything else. And it's a great keyboard. For the money, you can't beat it. I have absolutely no regrets. And like I said, I don't even know 50% of this thing. There's so much more that it does that I still haven't used because I haven't had a need to yet. But it's nice to know that if I do need it, it's there. I just got to do a little bit of work to get to it. So I'm going to wrap this up right there. I mean, like I said, it's been a year and a half, probably coming up on 2 years since I've had this. And I have zero excuses. My wife loves it. Absolutely loves it. She plays this more than she plays my CP300. And she's just crazy about this. She loves all the sounds. She loves to come up here and sit and tinker and all that. And she has a really good time on it. And so I have zero regrets. So if you're in the market for a damn good keyboard, a good synth, you can get the MODX8s now. You can get them used for $600, $700, $800 cheaper than what they were just a year and a half ago. And if you find one used in good shape, I would buy that. I wouldn't spend the extra money on the Plus. There's not enough of a difference. I'm never going to miss the difference between the MODX8 and the MODX8 Plus. There's nothing I'm doing here that I'm like, oh, if I just had that little bit more freaking power, gotta get a MODX8 Plus. No. If I upgrade from here, I'm going to go to a Montage. I'm not going to go up to the same damn keyboard with a tick more power. That's stupid. Absolutely stupid. So I would just go up to a Montage if I'm going to upgrade from here. Or I don't know, man. That new Korg is awfully nice, but dude, it's like $6,000. That is insane to me. That is stupid to me. But even the MODX8 Plus, I believe, is $1999. I think $2,000, $2,100, something like that. So for the money, no matter which way you go, you can't lose. They're both fantastic keyboards, and I have no regrets at all with my MODX8. I have no plans to trade it in. I have no plans to upgrade it at all. I will probably keep this till either it or I die. I see no reason to upgrade at all. It's fantastic. Oh, and one last note. There are tons of user sounds that you can get. There's patches, and like I said, this cool thing about it reminds me of my Fractal logs. I can go in and I can buy factory presets. I can buy presets from my Fractal and download them if I wanted to do that. I just make my own sounds. And I got a badass sound on my tone on my Fractal is badass. I'm sorry. It is brutal. But you can go down and you can download things in here just to give you a quick idea. I actually took this. This came from Yamaha. They came out with a patch for the Bosendorfer. And it's pretty cool. This is the Imperial Grand here. And I only use this when I'm playing things like this. I only do it when I'm playing things like that, or, you know. When I'm doing stuff like that. That's about the only time I use the Imperial Grand. But these are sounds that I loaded in. So there are a ton of sounds out there that you can get. Excuse me. This is the 2 Grands, which is actually not a bad sound. I kind of like that one. I do use that a bit. We have the Imperial Strings. This is another great one that has a string sound on the back of it. That is why I love the super knob. I can fine tune the sound I want to it exactly. But that's a great sound. We have an all digital here. Ambient trailer. Very dark, very reverby, very big. Harpsichord in the distance. This thing is crazy. This is a nutso sound. That thing is insane. A dark wooden box, the Imperial Digipad. Got that real breathy sound on it. Imperial Jazz Trio. And of course, this one has scenes on it. Adds the fills on the scenes, however you want to do on it. The extra pianist. Yeah, so, and these are all stuff that I downloaded. So the nice thing about it is there's a ton of patches you can get to download into your MODX. So realistically, if you can't figure out how to make the sound, either somebody already has it on the exchange, or you can just buy the damn thing and put it in there. So I gotta be honest, as of right now, I see no reason to upgrade at all, because I have all that at my fingertips if I ever need it. So I'm going to wrap this up right there. I just wanted to give a quick, a very long update apparently, to my MODX8 after all this time, how I feel about it, and I love it. I still absolutely love it, and I still don't know how to use the damn thing for shit, to be honest with you. So I'm going to wrap this video up right there, and on that note, like the great Sammy Hagar says, if you miss a beat, you lose the rhythm, and nothing falls into place. And no matter what you do, for the love of God, rock on.